My sister Sara had dragged me back home with a plan to surprise our parents for Easter. We always had a family dinner where our mom made too much food and drank a little too much wine. I left for a reason, Sara. I don't know how you even got me back here in the first place. I'll have you know I'm very convincing to the right people. She winked. As we entered, my mom came out and dropped her dish in shock. She cried and embraced me, but it ended abruptly when my dad snatched her back and with a cold glare towards Sara asked what the hell I was doing there. My mom pleaded for my dad to calm down and keep the peace for just one night. It had been too long since all her children were together. Mom set the plates and I sat next to Sara and across from my parents. My dad came into the kitchen and loudly set a gun on the table to reinforce his point. "Don't test me, please." Sara asked what right he had to say anything, but was cut off by Mom urging everyone to calm down. I picked at my plate and my mom apologized and that if she knew she would have figured out what I could eat. I was pretty hungry, but I told her not to worry about it. I moved the food around in my mouth but lost the fight to swallow and resigned it to a napkin. Dad excused himself and told me my choices were here in the kitchen or outside. I was upset, but a part of me understood. Mom kept me company in the kitchen, catching me up on everything I had missed. But all I could think about was how hungry I was. I imagined a big hunk of meat in front of me like the Flintstones, how I would bite into it over and over and over again, tearing, gnashing, and pulling. My mother's scream eventually reached me, and I looked down to see several large bite marks out of her neck and shoulder, a look of horror and sorrow as the light left her eyes. My body jerked as my father fired several rounds into me. I leapt onto him and tore off his jaw. Sara gasped and covered her mouth when she entered the kitchen and took in the grisly scene. I snapped toward her. My eyes sent a clear message, "Get out." She mouthed an apology before she ran out the back door. That was the last sense of clarity I had before I looked down at my father, past the guilt in his eyes, his faint gargled sobs, and to the flesh that still made up the back of his throat and dove in. Sara always was overambitious, blamed herself for things that were never her fault. She should have left me in the ground where I was. I was perfectly happy,